This conversation is really going to be about our goals, our trajectory in the short term specifically, and how our day-to-day life is impacted by what it is that we're trying to do for ourselves at this time. Okay, so our goals lately, the trajectory has been Taurus, so that's been about establishing a secure base of operations. It's been about being able to get grounded in the material world, being able to have the things that you need to feel as though you are safe and supported, right? So that's the conversation that's coming up with that. And then Sun, Chiron, and Jupiter, this is, our sense of ambition, our sense of purpose in the world, what work we're doing in the world, here together with the wounded healer and our planet for good fortune and expansion and like learning more and having bigger experiences, right? So, this has been a conversation we've been having just about personal well-being, about work-life balance, and about, sort of growing the sense of possibility in our life, not by, continuing just to plug away, but by also knowing when to stop and take care of ourselves. So that's those are the intensive energies that have been on the page lately. A lot of conversations happening between Mars and the other planets. So our initiative here in Cancer, which is kind of sidewinding, kind of less direct, is talking to these other planets. Moon is having some conversations here, but I want to move on to the aspects. Mercury is moving into Taurus today, okay? And this is kind of a relief. I said it in the shorter video because Mercury is in Aries. Our communications, our planning, our thoughts, they can really be all about ourselves, and we can run a little hot, okay? We can be a little spicy with the way we talk. We can be a little selfish with the way we plan, right? It doesn't always come across very well. So, we're moving on into Taurus this morning. And that's cool because Mercury, then which is our thought process, your individual thought process, okay? Your way of thinking, planning, and communicating gets more influenced by Taurus, which is this desire for security, stability, routine, especially in the day-to-day life, which is another thing that Mercury is about. So we'll be more interested in plans and conversations that establish routines, reliable outcomes and encounters, and we'll be appreciating that ability to use our thoughts, plans, and communications to establish security for ourselves until June 12th. Okay, and that's going to be a long Taurus transit for Mercury, which is usually only a 3-week transit, but Mercury is going to go retrograde on the 21st of April. Okay, so coming up here in a couple of weeks. And it will stay retrograde through the 15th of May. Okay, so then it leaves Taurus eventually again onto Gemini, where it will be right at home, and you'll get some much needed relief and ability to say what's on your mind and communicate, and even just like look past the need for security and material pleasure, because you'll be in a more intellectually creative mind space at that time. Mercury goes square to Pluto today, and Mercury's aspects with the other planets generally last only a day or so. Especially Pluto is a very slow planet. It's really kind of not going anywhere from our perspective at this time. It made it over into 0 degrees and some change, Aquarius, and it's sort of dipping its toe in the next 20 years worth of Aquarius, but it's going to go retrograde again really soon, and it'll go back into Capricorn, and we'll finish up some of the work we had to do with, just tearing down old things that don't work for us and making new things in their place, right? Or at least tearing down the old things that don't work for us. The Pluto in Aquarius is going to be more about creating the new things that are inclusive, that take the place of old institutions that no longer do what they're supposed to do. So that should be an interesting time. However, Mercury square to Pluto today, that's that pink line between Mercury and Pluto. This is a sign for profound thoughts and talks, deep dives, okay? But be aware of the urge to sort of force others to see your point of view. You may do some research, you may do some looking into something, However you do that, many of us do it on the internet. You may feel like, oh, I've got the answer. I understand something on a very profound level, and I need everybody to come along with me and understand it with me. Well, for one thing, we're all kind of in that space, and we're all feeling like we know the core truth of things, and we're not all going to agree because it's all based on your particular perspective, your individual perspective, right? And, you know, for another thing, you know, it's really just such a drag to people when you try to make them see things that they can't see, right? It can make things challenging. So let's not square vibration challenge ourselves by, you know, picking a lot of conversations about some core truths that we have seen. This might be a good time more to be in conversation with yourself about what you're realizing about your world, life, the universe, everything, right? So go ahead, have those profound thoughts. Have those talks with somebody you know you can have that conversation with. You know, go ahead and make the deep dive, do the reading, you know, do the writing, see if you can sort of coalesce a new idea or your own perspective around what it is that you have learned. But, you know, you don't necessarily have to go around just, you know, tapping the next stranger on the shoulder and, you know, have you heard the good news about Mercury Square Pluto, right? We don't have to do that. So that's really what's going on. And this is a one day only kind of conversation. And this is going to be for a couple of days, Mercury's conjunct to North Node, because it's going to reach the North Node probably tomorrow or the next day. So we're closing in on that conjunct with the North Node, where we're talking about our plans, our desire for security, for, you know, ability to be grounded, an ability to feel supported, right? But, you know, that's coming off of that square to Pluto where we're doing a deep dive. So we might be reconsidering what it is that we think is important for our sense of security. That's not a bad conversation to be following up on that Mercury square Pluto. On the moon side of the page, 2 days till the full moon. It will happen Wednesday, the 5th at 11:34 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm in Fayetteville, Arkansas, so I go with Central Standard Time here in the U.S. And that full moon is going to be in Libra. Okay, so our hearts are all going to be about the balance, the fairness, how things are going between us in our relationships with the people that we have relationships with, right? We want to make sure things feel balanced. We want to make sure things feel fair. That means you know, not over giving, not giving more of ourselves or promising more of ourselves, you know, than we really can or should. And it also means, you know, not taking the short end of the stick every time when it comes to those things you value, those connections that you like, love, and can't get enough of. Today, the moon is trine to Uranus and to Venus both. And, you know, that will last for part of the day. This is, you know, especially in the is that in the morning? No, this is at 3:28 in the afternoon. Those last, you know, 2 to 4 hours. And then Venus is actually 1:04 tomorrow morning. So these trines are happening, you know, pretty far apart in terms of the day, but pretty close together in terms of the week or the month, right? So they are together. Venus is still somewhat conjunct to Uranus. And so we're still looking for those, we're still anticipating those surprising developments that we can happily embrace, okay? But at the same time, you know, the moon is trying to Venus, and Venus is at home in Taurus, saying all's good with the world. We can connect and share with ease. In fact, you could even ask for something at this time and probably get it, right? You could be persuasive enough, or you could be, you know, in a position where the other person really just doesn't want to say no to you, right? So, you know, use your powers for good, only and ever, all the time. But, you know, if there's something that you need or something you've been desiring and you know who you can ask for it, go ahead and ask, see what happens. It's a good day to sort of come with your hand out and say, you know, I need to sort out this problem. Can you help me with $50? Or I need an outfit for, you know, this party that I'm going to. Can you help me figure out what I'm going to wear, right? Just ask for what it is that you need in terms of, especially in terms of support and security, and probably it will come your way. And perhaps that will represent the surprising upgrade that you've been expecting. Okay, coming up, the full moon is Wednesday, and Mercury will be sextile to Saturn, and the sun goes conjunct to Chiron. All of that happens on Wednesday, so I'll be back here to talk to you about that. And I just want to give you a big heads up that April 11th, and I'm going to say like April 8th through the 14th, April 11 is sun conjunct Jupiter, and that is what is considered the luckiest day of the year. That's our, your sense of purpose in the world, and our sense of growth and expansion, and opportunity, and bigger, better ideas of what we can be, do and have. So what you want to do on April 11th is just be engaged in any activity that you want to do more, right? So if you can find a way to get somebody to pay you a large sum of money that you are owed on the 11th or thereabouts, then that might help you increase your income, because that's the vibe, is that these things will be multiplied, and you'll have more than you thought you could ask for. Jupiter's nature is abundance. It's just a giver. It wants you to always feel like you're expanding and like you have a bigger idea of what you could be, do, or have. Okay, I think that's all I have to say about it today, friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. I truly appreciate your presence here. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow or the next day for more Astrology Today. Hey friends, welcome back to Astrology Today. My name is Mel Rose, and I'm here to share with you some astrology for Monday, April 3, 2023. The sun is in Aries at this time, and this is a time of action. We feel a lot of initiative. We can see our plans unfolding, and that's reflected in the tarot card that goes with this, the second 10 days of the sun's transit in the land of Aries. This is a card, this is the Three of Wands, and it's really about a sense of momentum we feel. We've gotten our plans underway. We feel confident that we've done our best, and we can see things starting to expand, to grow before us, like the path is unfolding for us to get where we want to go, right? So we can look ahead a little bit and sort of foresee what obstacles may be in our path, or what benefits we may be able to take advantage of as we move toward our goal. So that's very much where the sun is and what it's about at this time. The moon today is in Virgo. The moon, moves into another sign every 2.5 days. But when the moon is in Virgo, it's like our senses are turned on. Virgo is moved by Mercury, and Mercury is making some moves today. So we're probably going to feel really that Virgo moon vibe, where our minds are more sharp, where our bodies are more sensitive. We have this idea that we want to sort of cleanse things, organize things, solve problems. We have very compassionate hearts, but we really want to set things in order at a time like this. And it is 2 days until the full moon in Libra. So we'll be back to talk about that on Tuesday night or Wednesday, which is the day of the full moon. So before I get into aspects, I just want to, zoom out and take a look at the whole chart. I want to say that I'm still noticing some, conjunctions here. Venus just got past its full conjunction with Uranus. Mercury is almost conjunct to the North Node here. The Sun, Chiron, and Jupiter have been conjunct for a little while, right? So these are intensifications of energies, right? When they're right next to each other, they sort of overlap and unfold with one another, and they have this whole thing to say that includes the parts of each planet that's involved. So like with Venus and Uranus in Taurus, Venus is very comfortable in Taurus. Venus is very much about the sensual pleasures of life, of being grounded in the material world. And Uranus wants to bring about a lot of change. And so hopefully with Venus and Uranus conjunct in Taurus, if you had a surprise, especially in your life surrounding your friendships or your love life, or even your finances, your money, your work life, hopefully that was a pleasant surprise and it meant an upgrade in terms of the things you like to receive, like recognition, or for your accomplishments, or just love, appreciation, or even gifts and compensation. Hopefully we saw some a little bit of a level up with that. And then Mercury coming conjunct to the North Node is, it's interesting to me because especially after Mercury gets into Taurus today. This conversation is really very much going to be very briefly